I've never set foot in a seminary. I've wanted to be more connected to the PCUSA denomination. So I've actually been going through the process of becoming a commission ruling elder.
I grew up in a small conservative evangelical denomination. For one, I didn't see myself as a woman in ministry. Didn't think that that was an option to me.
I grew up as a United Methodist in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I came to the U.S. For my master's degree program, MDiv, at Candler School of Theology.
I actually went to seminary with the Nazarene Church and came out to Wyoming expecting to pursue my ordination journey.
And I was disillusioned working for a summer camp, moved into a Catholic worker house run by a PCUSA minister, moved out of that, and within 6 months, I found myself working for a Presbyterian church, not being Presbyterian myself, to plant what was then to be the Open Table, a 1001 new worshiping community within the PCUSA.
Along the way, a friend invited me to audit a seminary class, and then suddenly I was in seminary. And a friend invited me to interview for this CPE residency, and then suddenly I was a chaplain. And then I happened to go on a website of a Presbyterian church. It had a position opening, and then suddenly I was the co-pastor of a new worshiping community.
I had a professor who is Presbyterian. One day she talked to me that, we have a homeless shelter, and would you be willing to run that shelter? I was leading the shelter, and being a student, I started also an outreach ministry in Clarkston. They talked about we observe and we saw the work that you are doing in Clarkston. So would you consider starting a new worshiping community?
I happened to serve coffee one day to a woman wearing a Fuller Seminary sweatshirt. It turns out she was a Presbyterian Church U.S.A. minister in Casper.
When I found the Open Table, I found a home. Even though I do have a Master's of Divinity, I do not feel a call to ordained ministry, and again, in the traditional sense, as many colleagues do, but I do feel a call to the Open Table.
The Clarkston community is mostly made up with immigrant and refugees, and many people felt that they were isolated and they needed a space where they could share stories about their background and their cultures.
At the time, in my home, we hosted a beautiful meal called Super Tuesdays. The conversations that I was hearing around my dinner table were those of the quote-unquote nuns and duns, those folks for whom spirituality and religion, for a whole variety of reasons, either they had never pursued that conversation formally or they didn't have experience with it. In 2015, we went public, and I now am in the process of pursuing ordination and will be ordained in 2020.
What really excites me about the Open Table in particular, we're getting the chance to build a church and build a movement of folks who are both deeply contemplative and are deeply committed to justice.
Through a series of events and a grant we received, we were able to begin training some folks in our community to become anti-racism trainers. The mayor of Kansas City invited us to be part of an equity movement that he was pursuing in the city.
Immigrant and refugees, they come with a lot of gifts, culture, even into the way they interpret and translate, scripture and way of living as children of God.
What I have learned from the 1001 movement is that this is the work of God on earth that we get to participate in, and that the knapsack per se that God gives us for the journey has everything that we need in it.
I'm grateful for the ways I've been able to partner with Second Presbyterian, who've continued to work with us and support us and share building space with us. We've seen some new energy, I think, in their congregation as well.
1001 and the institution of the PCUSA, I think they pair really well together because you have institutions and institutions need movements. We get to innovate and the institution can institutionalize those innovations that will refresh the entirety of the church. It's going to be beneficial for the entirety of the church.